So not enough people are showing up on stories. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 Instagram story strategies that you should know if you really are serious about growing on Instagram organically, because right now, stories is the only way to grow organically. So keep watching. ¿Qué onda, mi gente? Welcome back. Today, we're talking about Instagram stories. So not enough people are showing up on Instagram stories. And literally stories are the most impactful way to grow organically right now on Instagram. It literally is the only way that you're going to continue to grow the rest of this year and into 2020. And one of the reasons why is because stories get more views, more engagement than your regular feed and caption posts. I average now, where I used to average 300, 400, even 500 likes and several comments on my pictures and my feed. I'm getting, maybe if I can get 100, hey, I'm doing great. If I can get 5 comments from people, then I'm doing fantastic. The problem is that because the feed has been a little bit restricted, I am getting way more engagement, way more interactions, way more likes, way more direct messages using stories than actually posting on the feed. And I actually did I went on a feed hiatus. So I had not posted to my feed in at least a month, but I continue to post consistently at least 3 to even up to 10 times a day on my stories. And I found that I was still growing. I was still gaining traction. Maybe I was not averaging like what I used to, where I would get, anywhere from 20 to 50 people following me every day. But obviously those days are long gone on Instagram, but I'm getting at least 5, 6, even up to 10 followers a day with just using stories. So I have resumed my posts, but in this video, I'm gonna share with you 7 Instagram story strategies that you should know. So again, stories literally can 100x your views, your engagement, your interactions, and it really starts growing your page just like it used to before. Maybe not at the same velocity, but I am actually interacting with people that are not following me. So that is the great thing about stories, that I'm getting way more interaction from people that are not following me versus the people that are following me. And I'm actually having more conversations in direct messaging from people that aren't following me at all, that actually convert to following me after having conversations through DMs. So that is why stories is so important to have as your strategy. And I'm giving you 7 Instagram stories strategies that you need to action now and that you should know so that you can continue to be successful on the platform, because it is so important right now for brands that are small brands or mom and pop brands, or even like just individual personal brands. If you're really struggling to develop a following, then these strategies are strategies that you should know right now. So the first one that I want to share with you guys is to get to the point. Lead your story with a hook. Go ahead and just hook people in. A lot of times I see on the stories where people do video, or they do live video also, and they immediately start talking about like, hey guys, welcome, and I just wanted to share something with you guys today. And by the time that you get through maybe 5 seconds of that, I've already swiped and I've already skipped your story, because you're not grabbing me, you're not enticing me, you're not wanting me to stop and listen to you. So always start with your hook. Always start with, hey guys, I've got 7 strategies right now that will instantly grow your Instagram account organically now. And so now if I hear that, that's immediately going to make me stop and say, well, I want to grow my Instagram account. Like, I want to keep watching and see what this is. So go from the hook directly into giving them the tips, and then do a recap at the end, and then close out your story. So always use this kind of strategy to get your viewers, to get more viewers to get hooked on you. Also, make sure that you're using up to 10 hashtags. Hashtags equals discoverability. Hashtags literally boost the discoverability of your post. I've literally gained a lot of traction by just using the hashtags. I can see how many people found me through hashtags that, were not following me before. And I can even start, commenting back on their pictures and really interacting with those kind of people so that I can continue to bring them and continue to grasp them and have them stay in my little ecosphere and hopefully convert them into followers and loyal followers at that. So the third one is to be yourself, like literally have raw stories. My Instagram feed is like a little bit curated. It's very it is very day in the life of Jay, but it is definitely curated. Like my cup is sitting at the right place, my mouse is sitting at the right place. I'm, literally doing something. So you're not gonna see me like slouching out and like working on my computer. You're gonna see me a little bit more engaged because I am taking a picture just specifically for my feed. Although it is something that I do on the daily basis, I am more conscious about the aesthetic of the image. So what I do on my stories is I'm raw. Like there's days that I have office days and I'm wearing no makeup. I just came from the gym. I'm a sweaty mess and I get on here and I literally start, telling people just raw stories. And I like to share that personal interaction because you want to really let your personality shine on stories. It's where people get to know the real you. And if you're trying to develop a brand, then it's so important to be approachable and be just more genuine and real versus so structured and so clean and so aesthetic as in your feed. Also, number 4 is be mindful of content consumption. There's a lot of times that people post a lot of videos on these stories, and here's the thing, guys. Similar to the feed, while we're scrolling, we obviously or often scroll with the sound off. So I like to put like a sound on sticker on my post, on my stories, because I want people to understand that, hey, this is important and I want them to hear what's going on. But I started doing text within my video because people sometimes may not be able to put the sound on. Maybe they're in a car, maybe they're at the library or in a coffee shop, and you don't want to have everyone listen to what you're listening to on Instagram. So it's so important to add text and captions to your videos so that people can kind of read along through your story and have an idea of what you're talking about without actually turning on the sound. That's why it's so important to be mindful of content consumption. The way we consume content right now is literally now with sound off a lot of times, because depending on where we are, and people just scroll by. So if you add text, it really keeps people on your story longer, and that is exactly what you want. Number 5 is play with all the in-app features. You want to play with stickers, you want to play with the filters, you want to play with everything that Instagram gives you to build and create stories within the platform. That's exactly what you want to use, because it just favors the algorithm and it makes things more genuine. And honestly, Stories has evolved so much that they have given you so many features that honestly you can create like incredible stories just within the app without having to use another app to create your story and then dump it into your Instagram stories. Number 6 is boost your reach with a takeover. So I suggest that, if you have like accounts that you follow and they are also trying to build an audience, cross share your audience. It's okay to share audiences with someone in the same niche. If they're your competitor, see them as your ally and as your friends and as your tribe rather than your competitors. So jump on, an IG story. I recently got asked to get on a business coach's Instagram feed and stories, and she wanted me to share with her audience how to grow their business, or those little marketing things that need to be kind of checked off the list for you to grow your business. And finally, number 7 is measure your tap back. If someone taps your story back, that is a great indication that that story was worth watching, that story is literally meaningful. And when you have a lot of tap backs on a story, that also is an indication of the kind of content that your audience loved from you. The same thing with interactions, the kind of post, if you use a lot of like polls and stickers and the such, and you find that they really love polls, and continue to create more polls. So likewise for a tap back, analyze all of your stories. And if you realize that you have a lot of tap backs on one specific story, then your audience is telling you this story was worth re-watching, and they really want that kind of content. So continue to create that type of content and see if you get more retention on your stories by giving them more of what they want. So as we went through, make sure that you get to the point, make sure that you used hashtags, make sure that you are you, specifically you on stories, that you're raw, and that you're mindful of content consumption, that you play with the in-app features, that you boost your reach with a takeover, with like accounts, and finally measure your tap back. So those are the 7 strategies that you need to be following, that you need to be doing right now, because it's so important, so that you can continue to grow your Instagram account. So remember that with stories, it is a progression and not perfection. You want to be just raw and unique and yourself. And as you continue to develop your style in your stories, then you can start moving into like being authentically you in a very well curated where you start really telling stories well. Because remember, I talk to you guys about getting to the point, like getting that hook. So as you continue, it is a progression and not perfection. Leave perfection to the feed, leave that stuff. And even in the feed now, people just don't want perfection in the feeds anymore. So keep that in mind. And as I said before, these 7 strategies will really help you grow in stories, help you increase your following, your engagement, your views, and grow organically, which is what we all want for the remainder of 2019 and moving forward. It's just gonna get tougher out there. So using these 7 strategies is a definite win if you are looking to grow on Instagram in 2020. So como siempre, mi gente, make sure to like and subscribe as I bring you weekly videos that talk about creating your personal brand by mastering your mindset, making your mark, and marketing on social media. Besitos a todos y nos vemos la próxima semana.